Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the cash cows for round 8, going through, there isn't many this week to be honest with you. There's only really, what is it here, sort of 5 or 6 I would say, just looking at it quickly, and a lot of them are sort of overpriced guys. There's only really Darcy Jones that is sort of that unders in terms of value, but anyway, we will get into that. But before we do, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, Darcy Jones, and the good thing is I'm actually recording this at a time that has light, not much light, but some light, and it shouldn't dip too much in the video. As you can see, it's not too bad light-wise. But anyway, Darcy Jones here, -6 break even, had a 70, and has the Swans this weekend at the SCG in what is going to be, I think, wet weather conditions. Let me just bring this up on my phone here. I believe Saturday, Friday through to Sunday is going to be wet weather for Sydney. Let me just check. Wet weather was today, then we have wet weather tomorrow as well. Wet weather on Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and they play on the early Saturday game, and Saturday is suspected to be 90% chance of rain. Let me just check. So we have Friday is between 5 to 30 mils, and Saturday between 10 to 45 mils, and then Sunday 10 to 50. But in the lead up to it, not only have we had rain on Tuesday, we're going to have rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to have rain every single day. So given that, I think Darcy Jones actually almost becomes more of a threat to actually be a really good cash cow. If we go to player summaries, you'll see with Darcy Jones, go to here, I just want to see, is he based on, what's his scoring based on? Because I know he is a small forward, and that, we don't have much, to be honest, to go off him. But you can see tackles, not really evident. That was probably did his ACL, I think, in this game here. That would make sense, as it was cited that he did do his ACL in one of the games. And that sort of makes sense. That lines up, as you wouldn't score a 5 in a VFL game, I don't think. And you can see he does have some backing, some scoring to back up the reason why he went 70. Not severely tackle based, 4 tackles a game. What's that? 2 marks a game, and 4 goals, so over a goal a game there. So I don't think he'll necessarily go 70, but I feel like much similar to like a Harvey Thomas. And this will be the interesting one: is does he even get a game now that they have? I believe it's Cornelio, Green. I know that the likes of a Sam Taylor coming back won't impact, because that'll just be Lee Collier that goes. But you still have Toby Green and the likes of Cornelio, who Cornelio could potentially impact the small forward stocks, as he might be played. I don't know whether he'll be played completely on ball, or whether he'll be played as like a half forward or whatnot, or whether Callum Ward pushes forward or whatnot, with the regards to the... we can actually look this up here. CBAs, then we go to GWS, because this may impact whether getting Darcy Jones is... You look at this and you look, Cornelio has been pretty much a full-time mid and has gone out, and who's come back in? Callum Ward, and he's got that time there. And also Callahan sort of picked up some time as well. You've also had Josh Kelly pick up some time as well. They've sort of shared the load, I would say, with the only person that really hasn't changed is Tom Green's CBA numbers. James Peatling as well taking up some CBA numbers, and Toby Bedford as well. So it'll be interesting with regards to the Giants to see what happens here with the CBAs. Maybe Toby Green goes into the midfield a little bit or something, but that's why I'm a little bit worried with regards to Darcy Jones and his job security. And if there's a number 1 rule that I've learnt this year, is do not go for guys that have iffy job security. Biggie as well, 344k. I don't want to touch him at that price, to be honest with you. Just a little bit too expensive for the output that I suspect he's going to give. His average is 65. He's given us a 65 last round. after an 83 and a 47, I suspect 65 is probably around the marker for him, and well, that is his average. But I also suspect that he may also drop another 40 or something like that and potentially get dropped. Tajwa Wheaton at the moment currently in my side, but that's probably going to change depending on if I want to bring in Darcy Jones or not, as he's just covering or whatnot. But yeah, he's a -1. I think he looks pretty good off halfback, but has sort of been in and out of the side. But one thing I like is that he's had 2 games and he's averaged 56 in those 2 games here. So they do play. Who do they play? Who do Melbourne play? Should know this. Melbourne play Geelong. He could get good ball, so we'll see with that. I also want to just check his scoring in the VFL just to check if he's sort of been used down back, because that'll be an interesting one to look at for Woeweden. There we go. Woeweden, here we go. And I know he's had some bad averages last year, but they were, as you see here, it sort of looks like he's been used off the half back line in the VFL. I'd have to double check that, but you can see the VFL backing here, and you can also see here as well. Did kick 3 goals in this game, but you can sort of see here his VFL scoring is relatively good. And yes, I think there's maybe, it's hard to tell where he's been positioned. I'd have to look that up again, but I think he's been playing off halfback from memory. And let's actually look at his heat map here. You can see off halfback here. So I think he was playing off halfback. And then in these games, he was used off halfback as well. The only problem I have with that is that I'd have to look at the Melbourne injury list, which should be coming out soon. Melbourne Demons, and I want to see what Bowie, because Bowie got injured in round 0. He's going to be close to coming back, surely. If we go here, and then we go to here, we go to news. Nope, not news. Teams, not news. Injury report. Here we go. You see, this was the injury report from Monday, the 22nd of April, which is about a week ago now. Oliver available, McAdams available, Hoare available, Spargo 3 to 4 weeks, Bowie 3 to 4 weeks, Salem 3 to 5 weeks. So does Woeweden get 3 to 4 weeks in the side? Is the interesting thing, and we'll have to look at his positioning for and we go to AFL lineups here. I just want to see, where was he? I'm guessing he was on the bench for this game here. On the bench here, and then Bailey Laurie was made up, so it is a risk, I guess, given that he's on the bench. But I would think they would play Laurie as a sub over Woeweden, given that they don't really have a 7th defender at the moment. So it will be interesting to see how that goes, and whether he gets picked or not. But I guess we'll find out later in the week. But I think he actually is a pretty good option, given that he's got that forward defender, so you can swing him. And I think that he'll average sort of 60 in defence, so he can be just a good guy to gain some cash. As if we look at his projected, 34 gets him, 59K in the next sort of 3 weeks. So I think he can do a lot better than that in the next 3 to 4 weeks, and can gain sort of that 100 to 150K. But then again, do we really want that guy that's going to be gaining 100 to 150K in the next 3 weeks, or do we want a guy that has better job security, like I don't think Darcy Jones has it. I don't think Hugo Garcia has it. I think Lafau does, but but he's 336K. So that sort of is the conundrum there. And Lafau's job positioning doesn't really pertain to better scoring. So that's the problem I have at the moment. Garcia plays North, so hopefully he stays in the side, but will look pretty poor. But again, St Kilda as a whole looked pretty poor, so it will be interesting to see if he holds, as I think he is a guy that can really provide energy and can spark the side. He just got sucked on the bench basically from memory, if I remember correctly. 59% TOG, yeah, that was just pathetic TOG. If you scale that up, I'm guessing it looks more like a 50 that he would have scored. So yeah, if he could just get back onto the field rather than stuck on the bench, it would be better. Dean, Conway, Graham, a really, really good one. 451K though, so you wouldn't be paying up now, as yes, he does have some break even, but I think he's fieldable in the next sort of 3 weeks. Gabba, that usually becomes a really tight and physical contest, the Q Clash. So I would be fielding him here against the Brisbane. Then he has TAO 2 weeks running, and which is the Darwin Stadium, which is usually muggy and really humid. So that should be tackle central as to ball efficiency, like ball use really goes down. We saw that last year with the likes of Darcy McPherson. A lot of us had those Gold Coast guys because they had that round 13 bye and they went up here to, I think they went up to TAO maybe even a week later and they spent 2 games up there. And then they went basically straight into the bye. They had another week and then into the bye, I think. So we all got stuck with those ball users like the Rat and McPherson last year at TIO, and they all dropped 40s. So from memory, that's what happened, and it really stunk. So I think you can rely on Will Graham to pop 70s or potentially even 80s at TIO, and that'll get him. He's projected with 67s to rise another 78, 96k. I reckon you can basically bank on him getting to 600k. In the next sort of 3 weeks if he goes well. If he goes well against Brisbane and drops an 80 there, I think he'll reach 600k. Voss, 217, a forward. I just don't think he stays in the side, to be honest. I need to talk to the Freo guys about this. But 11 touches, 5 marks, a tackle against the Western Bulldogs and 1 goal 1. 2 free kicks against lowers their score, but I just think he might fall out of the side when they get their guys back. I need to look at the Freo injury report to Fremantle Dockers and then look at that as well. But I thought he played all right. He didn't play like outstanding. Let's just look at this. Maybe footy injury list. Here we go. So on the 23rd of April, they had Frederick a test, and I want to just look at the AFL lineups to just check if these guys actually played. So you had Frederick did play in the end. So you had Frederick, Switzkowski was a test. I don't think he got up in the end. Doesn't look like he got up in the end. So Switzkowski could come straight back in for Voss. Odinger. Then there's no one else that looks like they're going to be back or AFL, like as an AFL quality that's back for the next little bit. Or anyone that can really knock them off. So you had also Jai Amos got injured as well. So, but I don't think what's Patrick Voss's height. So I'll check that as well because I don't. Patrick Voss height. Let's just check as. He is 195, so he's a key. So he was. That makes sense now. He was brought in for Amos basically, effectively, and then Cooper Simpson, I believe, was brought in for Switzkowski. It seems like. That would who would go to the sub then? Probably just a Johnson or something like that, or an Emmett. Probably a Johnson now thinking about it, but So I don't know if Amos gets up, which don't know if it's likely that he will. Then we'll see. I believe we'll see Patrick Voss again. But then again, he's a key forward that dropped to 50. So I wouldn't be touching that, to be honest now, thinking it through logically speaking. Watson's injured. Daniel Turner, another... he's 356k, playing as a forward, had kicked 3 goals to get an 80. I don't think there's going to be consistency there, so I would stick clear of it, especially at that price tag. If he was 220k, I would say go. If he was 220k, I'd say probably go for it. Just because he's got probably better job security than most. Burgoyne, 553k. He's been dropping. He's actually going pretty well. 69 average for the year, so he's not a keeper, so I wouldn't be jumping on him. McMullen, we haven't seen played and always turns up. Then you have Riley Hardiman as well. 253k. So this one's an interesting one, and I genuinely think he might actually be a better option than the likes of who did I go for? Woy Whedon. I think they're both around the same price, aren't they? Taj Woy Whedon 250, so 256k. You've got North Melbourne playing here, then Melbourne playing the game after that. I reckon I could, when do Essendon play? Yes, I could link. We actually have the double. So, yes, I could loop him through Riley Hardiman there for that D6 role, potentially. But then I also have the Will Graham, I think, is playing on field. So, yes, I think Riley Hardiman might actually be the guy that I go for, and I'll go through that in my team reveal, but I think I really like the look of him, even though he did score a 54, and we did see the likes of Kobe Makocha really shine. I'd like to look at the efficiency of Hardiman and sort of look at that. Hardiman, there we go. Because I think this guy could be one of the best of the week, even though he is coming from a 10 break even. He does play St Kilda, who I think he could get good points against. In the VFL has been averaging not the greatest, as you can see here. And then one waffle game in 2023 where he averaged 52. What was his disposal efficiency? 67%. So not the greatest, but I think that that job security is there just because I don't think Fisher really performed that too well. And also, you've got Dylan Stevens, who really isn't performing well, to be honest with you. If we just go to Stevens, I think he performed better than Stevens, to be honest. If we go here, interchange, you can see 60% efficiency. On the season as a whole, he's averaging 73% disposal efficiency, which is better than I would have thought. Can we go to Supercoach stats? Because I think Supercoach will give us potentially clangers, which will be crucial, does it? No, it doesn't. Just sort of gives us the Supercoach split, doesn't it? Hit out CBA is told, doesn't give us what we want there. It just changes the scoring, doesn't it? Anyway, I just think that Hardiman's probably a better prospect to get games into than Dylan Stevens, so I reckon that they could keep Hardiman in the side, and I think that would be better for North to do that because Dylan Stevens has looked poor pretty much in every single game. So I think Hardiman is one that I just wanted. How tall is he? He seems relatively tall. Riley Hardiman. I know I should have done all this research beforehand. Let's just check his height. Hardiman is 185, so he is a decent height, but he should be that rebounding halfback that should. I hope he isn't that type of like lockdown halfback, because if he's a rebounding halfback, then that score should balloon up. And I think it might be slightly impacted by the fact that Fisher came on and I think he may have got moved up the ground. But if we just look at Hardiman and then sort of his heat map, I want to look at that again because I think that Hardiman could be a really good one, as I've been saying. If we look here, his heat map seems very, very defensive, but I mean, it's North Melbourne. They're going to get whacked each week, so he's going to be down there. I think I would be, if he isn't sub, I'd be jumping on Hardiman there. Then we move in. Jake Rogers, he was really good, but 280k. Do you really want to be jumping on a midfielder only at 280k? Given that he's sort of playing that high half forward role, and against Sydney had a shocker, 22. I think, like we saw with Harvey Thomas, he's going to have spike games and he's still only got a break even of 11, so I wouldn't be jumping on him, to be honest with you. Sam Day, 317k, no thank you, to be honest, even though he's a backup ruckman, used as a backup ruckman. I just don't think he's going to get that many weeks, to be honest. Jordan Sweet, another one, and I'll have to also go through the process of thinking this through with Jordan Sweet, and this could be depending on what do we get at team news, because the first game is Adelaide Port, and if we get the team news that Romo is out, which I haven't looked at anything regards to that, then Jordan Sweet is the one that I'll probably go to, or I may even look at a potential, there is a potential that I could do, I believe, Romo to English, and then Dempsey to Moore, who I will talk about in the trade targets. But there is certainly argument to go Jordan Sweet, as Jordan Sweet has gone. And this is where I go back to DFS. If I go back to DFS and go back to Sweet here, you'll see Jordan Sweet. His average in the VFL has been quite crazy. In the sample is 113. In the VFL, and I know VFL doesn't scale 1-to-1 to the AFL, but you just look at this, I'm just scrolling back for the whole season. I think we did this as well last week or something, or maybe even at the start of the season to show you, but 104 in 19 games. And I think that gives just a good sort of proxy to show you what he should do, even if we say, oh yeah, he's going to score at only 80% of the rate that he's going to score in the VFL. So 104.3 times 0.8 is 83.44. So 83.44 is still well above his price stat point of roughly 443. That's probably, I would say, well, looking at this, he's roughly 4.3 point. Nah, I can't get you enough. That doesn't, I'm trying to think of a way to logically get to that, but I cannot. So 443 divided by the magic number that we had at the start of the year. He is averaging roughly about, at the moment, 29 points unders. So you're getting 29 point unders there, so that's huge unders for him. And yeah, he is expected, if he goes at his projected, to make massive cash. So I think he's one that you can jump on if one of you guys is injured. And I may jump on him, but I just need to look through the options, which I'll do on Thursday when I have a free day. Rioli here, no thank you. Tyler Young. McAuliffe, I don't even think he gets named, and that's really poor because the Tiger midfield is really, really underdone at the moment. So hopefully, and something that I think may happen is McAuliffe may get a peak game, and that peak game could send him to maybe a 70 average or something like that we saw with Trezise, I believe. And that basically makes them unpickable the next year. So that's something I feel like is going to happen with McAuliffe. Neil, Ralph Smith, Drury, glad that I didn't jump on him as his cash gen has really basically just stopped. I believe we looked at him potentially 2 weeks ago. And he really hasn't, he's made cash, but he's going to stall very, very quickly. He's gone, what's he gone since that 100? 44 and 38. So yeah, I don't think he's made too much cash. If we go footy wire, as a matter of fact, I think you can figure this out. We go Drury, is he here? Drury, here we go. We'll just go through this way. Then we go his AFL Fantasy profile. He's made, 89k in the last 2 weeks, and 89k isn't necessarily the greatest, and he's pretty much stopped in cash gen. So that pretty much gets us up to the guys that are very, very, not the guys that aren't going to really play. You got the likes of Closey as well. I think he's one to almost jump off of next week if he doesn't get going. But that pretty much is the cash cows. I know we probably went a little bit longer than I thought I would go. I thought it would be about 10 to 15 minutes, but we went 22 in the end. As we went in depth on the reasoning behind, I guess, why we need to look at guys, and this is something that I will look at more intensely for my videos next year and the rest of this year, is looking at job security, especially for these rookies, as it seems a major talking point at the moment, especially with the sub rule. And until we abolish that sub rule, it's going to get really, really annoying that some guys are going to start in the green vest and a lot of guys are going to end up in the red vest that we have on our bench, or potentially in those latter half of those positions. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys for the cash, not the cash cows, which we just did, the trade targets video. Bye, guys.